I mean, we talk about Facebook all the time, but when it comes down to it, Youssef, what really dictated, I guess, the results were this move by Apple in terms of privacy. And so when investors really do look at Facebook, I'm not sure they really look at whistleblowers and, what about, young people and what does it do to their psyche, et cetera, et cetera. They're looking at whether people are still advertising on Facebook. That's what mattered.
Hey, Joe, good morning to you. So you're right. At the end, what matters really are the numbers. But in the meantime, remember, the stock was much, much higher than where it closed at last night. And so the whistleblower, the data dump, as you call it, did have an intra-quarter impact. And look, Facebook has been public for, almost 10 years now. And it's not the first time where it has come under a tremendous amount of pressure for things that leaks, et cetera. But you look at the numbers and, you're impressed, all things considered, right? Particularly on the back of what Snap reported and considering the size and scale of Facebook, we thought they actually ended up doing really well. They ended up managing through it well. And even when you look at their guidance for Q4 and some of the things they said about 2022, it looks to me like it's very transitory, which means that as an advertiser, you need to stay on the platform. They're going to take their time to fix it. They're throwing a ton of money at it, something like $10 billion to fix it. And so, even with these issues, Facebook remains one of the best places to advertise and to generate pretty high and attractive return on invested or return on investments.
It was higher, Sarah, and maybe some of the controversy has something to do with it. But, stocks move around. Stocks get overvalued. Based on last night's move and what's expected today, it's going to be $800 billion again. $800 billion again. So when it was at those higher levels, can you really say, this company is in trouble because of, political headwinds from the left and the right and, all these regulatory issues in front? I don't know. $800 billion seems like a company that's firing pretty well on all cylinders.
I agree, Joe. Investors don't care about PR. They care about profit. And what Facebook has proven time and time again is that it's the most valuable marketing platform out there other than Google. Now, the one thing that Facebook did right here, and Youssef alluded to this, is that it actually warned investors about a month ago that Apple's IDFA would be causing headwinds in the third quarter. Because it did that, it was able to avoid a stock free fall that Snapchat experienced last week. The biggest risk from these Facebook papers, Joe, is actually the reports that Facebook knew it was losing ground with younger users and wasn't being upfront with investors about it. That's why Mark Zuckerberg on the call, of all the things he addressed, the thing he was the most serious about was that we are going to pivot to be catering to young users moving forward. Joe, not only are they a very valuable advertising demographic, but they're also the future of the company. And he said they're losing ground to competitors like TikTok and Snapchat.
I guess is it news that some of the more vanity projects that are going to impact earnings, they're sort of putting that in a compartmentalizing that a little, Sarah. That's probably not a surprise. And we've seen other companies do that, things that aren't going to be near-term profit generators.
Yeah, my first reaction when I saw that is this is even further proof that reports that Facebook is considering a rebrand might be doing so in a move that mimics something that what Google did a few years ago in creating an Alphabet holding group for different segments of the company. Right now, Facebook Reality Labs, which is the department that you mentioned they will be separating out, is really nascent. But if they're able to put pressure on it individually, forcing it to report revenue and earnings alone, that might be able to force that group to innovate faster. And to the point earlier, Facebook has said they're going to make some pretty significant investment in it to ensure that it grows to a point where they can break it out and not be embarrassed. They said they're investing so much, in fact, Joe, that the Facebook Reality Labs will take a $10 billion hit on its profits this year alone.